Well,
Welcome to Open Vibes with your host, Denmika Eugene. Well, good evening. Good evening. I am
good
here
evening.
with Bill Herndon,
Yes, good evening.
special guest. Thank you for joining me.
Mm, my pleasure. I'm looking forward to being your guest.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're a very busy man, so your time is always appreciated.
Well, I'm never too busy for your show.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to jump right into it. I have tons of
Okay.
questions to ask you. I even
Oh,
got
no.
messages from some people who can't attend, and they sent me questions for you as well. So
Okay. I hope I can handle the questions.
I'm certainly you can. This man right here. Let me introduce him. He's a writer, producer, director. He's the founder and president of the Short Film Intensive Enterprise and M2M Studios, and he has 18 plus years within this industry. So I have tons of questions. I'm certain there's other people who have tons of questions. So let's go into it. Bill, tell us a little bit about who you are and what's your brand.
Well, first of all, I want to go back to the 18 years of experience. So first of all, I started when I was 9.
Oh, wow. Wow.
You said 18 years of experience. So, if you add that up, what does that make me? 27,
Oh,
20?
yeah.
No, really, when it comes to talking about what my brand is really a reflection of what I feel is what drives me most, and that's my passion for creativity, for developing content, whether that content is in the mold of a business or if it's in the mold of being creative in the entertainment space. And I'm a believer if you stay authentic to who you are, your brand is authentic. And yes, you may not be a brand for everyone, but you'll be the brand for the a brand for the right people. And with that being said, that's what I feel is the foundation of what makes up the brand of who I am and what my company is all about.
Excellent. Excellent. So, what prompted you to pursue a career in entertainment?
What prompted me to pursue a career in entertainment? Desperation.
Okay.
And what I mean by desperation to want to matter,
Mhm.
desperation to want to live your truth, desperation to want to break life cycles that may have not been the best cycles. Like, for example, breaking the cycle of poverty. When I grew up, growing up in foster care and growing up in a beginning where it would probably derail a lot of people, I had to make a decision that I wanted to break that cycle. So when I say desperation, I use it in a good and an endearing term, meaning that it's what fueled me. It's what made me want to push through, and that is the fuel to my creativity because I always want to do things that matter.
That's it. That's it. I think that's powerful and impacting because when it's purposeful and meaningful, it impacts the world. It changes the dynamic
Absolutely.
of everything that you're doing. So it's very purposeful.
Yes.
So what is your approach to this industry?
It's been an evolution. I mean, how I approach the industry now
Mhm.
is different than how I approached it, 18 years ago when I was 9 years old. You like how I keep going there, right?
Yeah, we don't want to project you as too young because we're gonna talk about it later because I pitched you to a few people, so we.
No, no doubt. But I think uh, it's about, again, I go back to just being authentic, and sometimes when you're young, it's hard to do that. You build yourself up based on what you think others want to see, but then you go through this cycle in this period of time where it may work for a moment, but then you go home and you spend time by yourself and you realize that, wait a minute, I'm not really being who I am, or I'm not expressing myself that truly reflects uh, the inner depths of who I am. So for me, the evolution has been, the more I've, the longer I've been in this industry, I realize the most important thing is for me to be authentic,
Right.
not to feel that I can serve everyone, not to feel that I can be everything I do that everyone's going to love. Because the truth is, it's not going to be like that. So the more I evolved in that thought process, the more organic my creative process was. And to me, that's the driving force behind who I am. Like everything I do it from a place of being authentic. Not to say that it's always going to be good, not to say it's always going to be right, but
Mhm.
at least I know if I do it from that place, I can sleep at night and continue to build and help others build because
Mhm.
I'm doing it from that place.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit about the first project you ever written. What was that like? What was that about?
Oh God, the first project I ever written. Wow, that's interesting. Uh, it was actually, I started with music videos.
Okay.
And I started working with indie artists, and I'll never forget. I had an artist on Atlantic Records, and I was the music production company. We had the artist signed, and they had given me an opportunity to direct her music video, one of
Okay.
her first music videos, and it was memorable because I thought it was great, and thought it had a great foundation. The concept, we shot it in Miami, but the label hated it.
Oh no.
And the lesson that I learned from that is I was trying to be too many things and trying to do too many things within the music video, and I ended up showing it to the label before it was completely finished.
Mhm.
So that was one of the things, that was a big learning lesson for me.
Okay.
The other one was when I was doing a scripted drama series. Oh God, it was a disaster. The creativity I enjoyed, but I made some mistakes that ended up really being transformational for me, and not in a good way, meaning that I had to hit rock bottom to
Okay.
really appreciate the climb back up.
Mhm.
So those two projects were the things that I feel were probably transformational in terms of who I am today as a creator.
Oh wow. That's it's good because I think sometimes what that does, it helps you to understand the artist even more because they have to hit rock bottom sometimes as well, and to you can value it more once you learn those experiences and those lessons. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
I heard a story from a young lady yesterday, and real quick, she said, had she not spent 43 days living in her car, she would never be able to appreciate where she's at now. And those are the lessons that's hard to learn early on, but grateful to learn them and move from there.
Well, saying that, let me give you a scenario where I ended up having that same type of lesson. It was in the '90s, late '90s. I was producing. I started my career as a music producer, songwriter. And I
Mhm.
was working in the same studio as Missy and Puff and everyone. And I was really on the climb as a producer writer. And I had to deal with the studio where, because I've always been entrepreneur in business, like, so I had to deal with the studio owner that I would help manage the studio
Mm.
during the day if I could record at night. And what happened, I ended up creating a record that did really well overseas, but then he wanted to change the deal where he wanted me to start paying for studio time. And I got upset. Make a long story short, I ended up losing my temper and ended up losing the gig. My girl and I had just broken up, and I actually ended up in a situation where I was homeless. And I had a choice. I could either go back to Syracuse and live with my family and try to recover,
Mhm.
or I could just try to work it out. and figure it out. And what I did is I stayed, I slept wherever I could, church steps of churches, McDonald's, Subway,
Mm.
and I just grind. Actually, had a gym membership so I could actually shower. And then what I did is I went to the library and taught myself how to write a business plan.
Okay.
And that's how I was able to come out of it. And the two lessons that I learned from that experience is one, never again ever lose my temper to the point where I put myself in a position where I lose everything. That was one. And two, when we're pushed into a corner and we have nowhere to go, the best person we can turn to is ourselves and God.
That's it.
And the God part was easy because you just pray on things. The part that I had to do was find a way, and that finding that way was going to the library and teaching myself how to write a business plan so I could get myself out of that situation. And I ended up excelling after that. I ended up doing a business plan that ended up raising like almost $900,000. That's how I started my first company. So talking
Wow.
about transformational experiences, that was definitely it. So I definitely identify with your listener that spent 43 days in her car.
Yes, yes. Um, that's a powerful story. I mean, and out of desperation, you birthed all of this now and paving the way for artists, you know, that's just powerful. I'm speechless because I didn't know that part about, what you lived through in your then and now. And actually today I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, and he was talking about the purpose and the plan. And what he
Mhm.
was saying was men from the grave are running the earth now
Mm.
because they left their imprint and their plan. How do you think, and this is totally off the cusp, not a question that's you or anything. How do you think your imprint is going to impact the world 100 years from now?
uh, through the work that I do. I mean, I work with several different artists, whether they're actors, singers, and they're creating content. And the great thing about content
Mhm,
is that that is a print that you leave. For every song you create, every TV show that you film, everything that you put on tape.
mhm,
So as far as I'm concerned, if I'm helping people like you and other actors and singers fulfill their full potential, and for me, that is the legacy. Those are the seeds that get planted. And I may not be the only one watering them, but guess what? If I water them for this season and then the next season you water them, and then the season after that, someone else does, guess what? That's how you continue to sustain, to build, and to grow. So
excellent.
I think my legacy is with the work that I do and my commitment to those who I work with. And sometimes it's hard. I mean, sometimes financially, people are in position where they can invest in themselves and it's easy. But then there's some situations where people have the heart, they have the desire, but they may not necessarily have the financial means.
Mhm,
And for me, I don't say no to those people. I find a way to still make it possible
mhm.
because if I know if I can make it possible for them, then they can also make it possible for themselves and possible for others.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I definitely can say, for me, meeting you within this past year, you've, you know, poured out into me personally. Been coaching me and teaching me and showing me the industry, the inner workings. And I think, the SFI program. Let's really get into the meat of what that is because that particular program, most actors or actresses aren't privy to everything that you expose your students to.
Mm.
And how did that come about? How did you come up with this idea to, you know, your approach to this training and coaching?
Yeah. For me, again, it's part of the evolution, part of uh, wanting to meet the artists where they're at. And when I meet them where they're at, I then I'm able to apply my experiences to help them have a different outcome. And what I mean by that is so often we're we're quick to say I got this, or you get some information, you think you're ready, and then what you do is you charge full steam ahead, not knowing that you're going 100 miles an hour, but you didn't prepare for running out of steam halfway before you get to your destination.
Mhm.
Whereas if you would have taken the time before you started and mapped out and navigated a plan, then guess what? You understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint. So for me, I wanted to create a program that identified three things:
Okay.
the desire for success, the willingness to learn how to be successful, and the will to implement a plan and to stick to that plan even when it feels that that plan is not working. And I tell people, even when something's not working, I tell people failure is failing to adjust. It doesn't mean that you abandon the plan. You
Mhm.
just make the necessary adjustments, but you stick to your goals and you stick to your plan and those adjustments, and you keep powering through. I feel that the SFI program, that's the foundation of it. The mechanical part of it is our goal is to shorten the distance between you starting as a talent and you get into the end goal of whether it's being seen on a big screen or being streamed in the show, whatever it is, that end game of being on the big screen. We feel that we've created a program that shortens that. And what I mean, it's because it gives you four things. It gives you outstanding coaching where you get to work with people that have a record of working with people that have been on the big screen.
Mhm.
Two, it's all about connections and having access. I don't care how well trained you are. I don't care how dope you think you are. If you don't have access to the right type of connections, you end up hitting a dead end. Trust me, I know it's happened to me. Thirdly, you've got to be a part of content that's embedded into your development. And what I mean by that, if you're an actor and all you do is go to classes, but then you don't have a chance to really be in professional content, whether it's on stage in a play or on set on a movie or TV show, then at some point you're missing a key component because no one really, it's like they talk about your potential, but no one knows what you can do. But if you have a chance to combine the development with content and the talent, and now you have a body of work that actually shows what you can do, guess
Mhm.
what? That's a game changer. So it speeds up your process. The last one, the fourth one is you got to be seen. So through our program, when we're done filming the short films, guess what? That short film gets submitted to tons of film festivals. We send it to different industry folks so that they can watch it. And guess what? They're able to put eyeballs on it and you're able to be seen. So I feel those are the four components that make up the mechanical implementation of the SFI program.
Excellent. Excellent. So tell us about your team. Who would actors have an opportunity to work with on your team?
Oh man, they get to work with me, of course. I mean, Uh, I'm not hard to work with, just a little demanding. Can wear you out a little bit. As a matter of fact, I think Tamika, didn't we film at like 4 o'clock in the morning?
And it was okay. I enjoyed every moment of
I don't know, waiting hours and hours and
it.
hours, but you did.
I think it comes with understanding what you signed up for and
Mhm.
having, like you said, that passion, that determination. I would have waited 2, 3 days, because I was exposed. I was listening, I was learning behind the scenes, and this is what you sign up for. This is what you want. So I didn't mind waiting. I didn't mind any of it. It was like it was rainy, it was cold, but it was okay.
But the good news is, and talk about other people I work with. One of my associates is casting director Paul Weber. He's worked on a lot of major movies. And the fact that you got to be on set and he got to see you in that process, guess what? Again, when we talk about shortening the distance from wanting to be in this industry to being in this industry, It
Mhm.
doesn't get any better than that because you didn't have to hope and wait that you met Paul through an audition process. No, he got to see you work on a professional movie set and see you hold your own. So he's
Mhm.
one of the people that I work with. I work with several different casting people, agents that are reputable in the business that I feel that are key for you as young talent to have access to.
Mhm. Definitely. I can honestly say, so the year, well, before I met Bill, um, I spent a whole lot of money, going in a whole lot of directions. And I created a list last summer of people I wanted to work with. And actually, Paul Weber was on my list. So I just thought that was wow. Like I wrote it down, and then not even 3 months, it was happening. So I just, and some of the people that I, you know, thought I would have to wait to work with, I didn't have to. So it did really shorten the distance for, I'm checking things off my list and going through it, and it's amazing. So
Well, yeah, but you also got to give your credit because, again, I think transparency is important. If you as talent, if you guys don't invest in yourselves, investing in yourselves made it possible for you to have that opportunity. The mistake that a lot of actors and singers and people make now, they're obsolete in their way of thinking. And what I mean by that, 20, 30 years ago, you could get discovered and managers and studios would pay for your development and bank on your potential.
mhm,
It's not like that anymore. If you don't invest in yourself and bring your level up to where people can see you, no one's going to seek you out and find you. No one's going to say, "Oh, she's out there. She's talented. Let me look for her." That's not what happens. The
mhm,
talented ones that rise to the top, that cream that rises to the top, those are the ones that get seen. And sometimes to do that and to separate yourself from the clutter, you have to invest in yourself. I remember a story when I first started in this industry. I had an opportunity to study with one of the top vocal coaches because at the time I was singing. I don't want to date myself, but he was the top. He was working with Destiny's Child, Beyond, or everybody, right?
mhm,
So I wanted to study with him, and his fees were really high. So after a couple lessons, I just did not have any more money, but I said, is there any way possible that I could do something to still study? Can I barter with you? And I ended up cooking his holiday meals
oh
in
wow,
exchange for voice lessons. And
wow,
I never forget one Thanksgiving, I got into a car accident with the food.
mhm,
And come hella high water. I was not, I gave the people my information, took insurance information. I was gone and made sure that I got his Thanksgiving dinner to him on time. But
mhm,
again, I did what I had to do. So for me, I don't really have a lot of patience when people say, I don't have it, I can't afford it. When you say those things or take on that mindset,
mhm,
you are taking yourself further away from achieving your dreams and your opportunities. When the Wright brothers said that they wanted to fly in a plane, it was the most ridiculous thing that people thought they could ever say.
mhm.
That's not possible, but they believed it. They thought about it. They put all their thought and everything behind it, their resources, anything they could do. And that's why we're flying planes and planes now. Same thing with the light bulb. I mean, I could go on and on.
Definitely.
It's when the headwind says that it's impossible that you become resourceful to make it possible.
Definitely. I think it's a matter of removing the limitations on your mindset. You
Absolutely.
definitely have to, and I think for the most part, I would say our day and age, we weren't taught that, you're limitless, truly. And before I move on, hint, hint, ladies, he said he can cook like a whole Thanksgiving meal, a whole meal. Okay.
I thought I said I used to be able to cook, didn't I?
I gotta throw that out there. But yeah, so we're definitely limitless. It's just how we seeing ourselves and seeing the value that's in us. And
Absolutely.
getting and it's just like anything you want to do, getting the college degree, you have to pay for it. You have to invest in yourself. And it's the same thing with acting, your coaching and everything, paying for it, you know, it becomes a little
Yeah,
bit more value, take it a little bit more seriously.
absolutely.
Veronica says she's coming over for Thanksgiving.
Uh, tell her, okay, tell them in New Jersey. Ask her what time I need to pick her up at the airport.
Something tell me she would show up. Hey, Veronica. And Veronica was actually a SFI participant as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, that Veronica. Tell her I said what's up.
All right. So moving forward, coaching. What's your approach to coaching?
I think coaching is like sports. You coach to the talent. Like for me, I don't think it's right for me to apply one coaching method to every actor or singer that I work with. What I do, I assess where you are and then I find where you're strong, focus on your strengths so that we can make the things that you're not strong at stronger. And sometimes that means being flexible. I'm a believer that you don't force a square into a round hole. But if you remain like slush,
Mhm.
guess what? You can fit into any mold. And I feel that's what's important. I think from our experience, Tamika, I take it from where you are and I find those strengths. And I do it not only in coaching, but in terms of how I write. Like
Yeah.
when I write a script, I write it to the talent and the strengths of the talent. So when I bring all of that together, guess what? It's not a far reach because I'm meeting you where you are. And then where you are is what we make better and we make bigger and we make more polished. And then all of a sudden you start gaining confidence. And in this, it's like sports. When you're confident
Mhm.
and then you combine that with talent, even if you miss a few times, you still keep going. The unfortunate thing about this business is that people aren't prepared to move past the rejection or those moments of defeat. Why? Because they haven't been coached properly. And that's my philosophy when it comes to coaching.
That's good. So walk us through the process when you first meet talent. Moving through the coaching process, how do you determine if they're a good fit for the short film intensive program? And then you also have the showcase. So walk us through that process. What are you looking for when you see talent?
I think for me, I can see talent where obviously some people don't see it. And what I mean by that, for me, I can sit down and have a conversation with you, but if I hear passion and I hear a commitment and I hear a resiliency and I hear a determination, to me, that's far more impressive and desirable versus working with someone that's perfect. And as a matter of fact, I've worked with some people where they just come off as too perfect or too stuck where they are to the point where I actually decline those situations because I feel that it's limit like there's limitations in terms of how I can have an impact. For me, I look like for people like me, I'm an underdog. I mean, I'm a kid that grew up in foster care that, that people thought was going to repeat the cycle of poverty, that was going to end up in jail and end up not being anything. And I broke that cycle because of being resilient, being determined, being passionate and compassionate. So
Mhm.
those are the things that I look for first. When I see that and you're also willing to work,
Yeah.
you got me because we're starting from a place where that lump of clay, it may not be shaped into the most beautiful cup yet, but by working together and working from that place where our ideals are in line with each other,
Mhm.
then to me that's what I like to work with. So to answer your question, it's not always about the talent.
Okay. Just being moldable. At the,
Yes, or and wanting it and being determined and having those other things. I can't begin to tell you how many times I'll never forget when I first started singing. I was terrible. And my dad and stepmom would always tell me, stop singing, you sound terrible. You know what? I kept singing. I kept singing. I kept singing, and I got better and better and better. I even got as far as Showtime at the Apollo. I was on that show.
Oh, wow. What
And
year was that? I need to research.
no, I'm not telling you the year. All I can tell you is that I did two things wrong. I wore the wrong outfit because when I got out on that stage, no matter how hard I rubbed the piece of wood, I was
Okay.
I was not prepared for what was coming next. And what happens at Showtime at the Apollo, they keep all the lights on in the audience. During rehearsals, you think, oh man, I got this. I'm gonna kill this tonight. I'm gonna kill it. Right? I get out there, they leave all the lights on, and I see people going like this. Oh, we're gonna get you. And you know, when you're in Harlem in the hood and they say they're gonna get you, you're
They
like, oh. And you want to turn around, but you realize you're on live TV that you can't just turn around. So I ended up doing it, right? And I did the Johnny Gill song, My Mind.
Oh, it
And
was
I
the
get
late ladies.
yeah, and I get to the part where it's my mind, my mind, right? The guys in the audience started going bye 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 bye. And then
Good stuff.
and then the Sandman is like this, and I'm saying, "Oh hell no!" So I got even more determined. And then the band started playing the song faster. I said, "Oh hell no!" I flipped it. Did whatever I had to do. I was not getting booed off that stage that night. And lucky
Wow.
for me, the highlight, I didn't win that night, but as long as Kiki put her hand over my head, I was good.
Good. I mean, you had a goal, and you made it to the goal. You got
But here is the moral of the story is that that would have crushed a lot of people,
Mhm, mhm.
but I was still determined. And in being determined, I found out, and as my career kept growing, that I didn't want to be in front of the on stage. I wanted to be behind the scenes. I wanted to be a producer, writer, and
Wow.
that's how I built my career. And when I got to deal with Atlantic and the artist, it was because of being a production company and understanding how to develop talent. I mean, even I remember being in the studio with Carrie Hilson and Esther Dean. I mean, these are all people. Lauren Hill, as a matter of fact, no one knows this, but when Lauren first started, she was actually my backup singer.
Oh, wow.
And being able to be a part of all of that, and it wouldn't happen if there wasn't a determination. So what I'm trying to say is, it's so important to tune out the noise, but to be open to doing the work.
Definitely, definitely. Do you feel it's important for an artist or even a director such as yourself to be on both sides, to have that experience on both sides?
Mm. I think that it gives you an opportunity to respect the process. Not necessarily because sometimes it may be too much for people to do both, but I think to understand it only helps you to better understand how it works and to give you a lot of times in this business, people are very impatient.
Mhm.
Everybody wants it now. You know, I spent this much money, so I should have it now. I need it now. I need it now.
Mhm.
Not understanding that that's not how it works. Like you really have to be in this for the long haul, but you have to understand the process. So yes, if knowing how it works on both sides helps you to understand the process better, then
Mhm.
yes, I think it's important.
Funny thing is I used to run from the camera. All the home videos, family videos growing up, I'm recording. I'm not on I would say at least 90% of them. Um,
Mm,
I was the hairstylist, so I was always behind the scenes for many, many years, and
wow.
um, I never wanted to be out front in front of the. I secretly did, but didn't have the confidence. And over the years, it took like, you know what? I don't care what nobody think. Now, somebody say camera, I'm.
Actually, you're just waiting for them to say, wait, actually, you're just waiting for them to say action, right?
Action. That's it. That's it. So I'm ready for it now. But yeah, I think being behind the scenes was really good experience and doing like runway shows
Mhm.
and seeing all that. It helped both sides because I understand that, creatively, you know, it takes some tweaking and
Yes.
practice. And that's why when hearing, getting directions, it's okay. It's okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. I also think it's important to understand that to be in this industry, you can either continue to stand in line and wait for an agent or a manager and hope that they call you. But when I break down the numbers to people,
Mhm.
In Hollywood, there's 250,000 actors. In LA and Atlanta, there's another half a million. And
Mhm.
when you take self tape, there's another million or two. Everyone's competing for a very limited space. So my thing is, you do that and we wait and we wait and we get excited when we get a call like, oh, I got an audition, I got an audition. Oh my God, the agent gave me a call back. And I want people to be excited about that. But I want you to understand that that should not be enough, that
Mhm.
you have to create opportunities for yourself because in that mode of operation is how you gain separation. That's how you're able to separate yourself from the pack, get eyeballs on you so that you have a chance in this industry. And when I say this, I'm not saying that it's not important to, I mean, this of several of the talent that I've worked with have gotten signed from the showcases that we do. And it's been a great experience and I'm happy for them. But I also want to say that that's not enough.
Mhm.
When you understand different aspects of this industry, you learn how to create opportunities for yourself. And that, if you look at my career, my success, and my failures,
Mhm.
have been based on me not being afraid to create opportunities, even where I did not see them. So
Wow.
I think that as people listen to the show tonight and those who are aspiring to be successful, yes, it is important to do more than one thing. Yes, it is important to think outside the box and create opportunities for yourself. Because when you do that, at least you're not just standing in the stall waiting and hoping that you're going to get that call. Oh, wait a minute. Did that rhyme? Stall,
That was
call?
pretty
Wait a minute. You want me to spit 16 right now?
good. That's good stuff. So Amy Thomas says, now for the record, this is my mom. She always comes and view the show. She says, so there's
Mhm.
hope for me, D'Amica. Singing. My family did not get that. We don't have any. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Is it really bad? I mean, listen, because you have a little bit of a Janet Jackson vibe to you. I mean, can you do this? Like,
I mean, I can,
did I tell you to just act like you?
I can do that all day. I mean, I can
See,
pat
there you go. So then we just put a track behind you.
it.
Actually, maybe we'll reach out to Veronica. She sings. Have
Oh,
her vocalize, put the vocals in the studio, and then you just lip sync and tell your mom. We just sit back and watch the show.
exactly. So Shalita says, don't wait in the stall for the call. Ha ha.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that was good stuff. And Cheryl says, thank you for thinking outside the box, Bill.
Cheryl's on.
Yes, Cheryl's on.
Oh
Here's
my God,
on. Here.
Cheryl. Listen, Cheryl is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I met Cheryl a year and a half ago.
Yes.
And when you talk about being relentless, you talk about being determined, you talk about investing in yourself, you talk about working past your own insecurities. She is the perfect example.
Yes.
And watching where she's grown from the first time I met her, when I walked into the room, she was like this and kind of uncertain. And now when she walks in, it's like, okay, I'm ready to go. Tell me what I need to do is perfect example of what I feel is important. And I say for everyone that I've worked with Henry, with Veronica, with you, with Sean, with my nephew. I mean, I could go on and on. There's a um, there's a fabric to all of you that inspires me, that keeps me wanting to do what I do because ultimately my goal, my end game is to create stars.
Wow.
And not to say that everyone's going to be a star, but everyone's going to be a star in their own right because they're going to be happy with what they're doing. They're going to feel that they didn't leave it on the field, that they gave it everything they got. So kudos to all of you because I wouldn't be here having this conversation with you if it wasn't for the energy that you guys also bring.
And definitely, Cheryl actually recommended me to connect to you. So I thank her for that. But I will tell you this, when we did competitions, and initially when I went to the competitions, I was just competing with me. I was competing with me. I wasn't really focused on anybody else. But I tell you, when I saw Cheryl perform through the whole competition, Cheryl it was like, wow. And then I was like, okay, you have to step your game up. So actually, when at the end of the day, Cheryl, Sean, and I, did we ever tell you that we came in third, fourth, and fifth?
Yes, yes, you
So I thought
did.
that was pretty awesome. I thought that was pretty awesome. And we knew somehow one day we would work together.
Yeah, and it happened. I mean, all of you guys, Veronica, like I have nothing but the utmost respect, and I know it's hard. I mean, I cannot begin to tell you the sacrifices so many of you have made financially
Mhm.
to even do some of the things that you do. But I'll tell you, man, if there this there is no happy ending if you don't believe in yourself and you're not willing to put it all on the line, even when people tell you you shouldn't,
Mhm.
even when people tell you you can't. And we are built in this society where, all the time people are trying to put us in boxes,
Mhm.
and they decide when they want to take out that box and let you be free. And you know what? That's not acceptable. You beat to your own drum, but understand that beating to your own drum in one place and not going anywhere, no one's ever going to see you. You've got to beat to your own drum, and you got to keep walking and beating that drum until people see you and hear you loud and clear.
Definitely. So, what advice would you give to an actor during this pandemic, during these quarantine times? How can they, what are some suggestions or ideas for them to be able to move forward?
That's really tough because we're in such a place and time where these are not normal times. I mean, being forced to isolate yourself and isolate your thoughts and your physical presence and everything about us. I mean, it challenges us mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So I find that the best solution is to fall back and look at things one step at a time. And what I mean by that, sometimes it's too overwhelming when we think about the whole picture. As a matter of fact, I was having a conversation with someone tonight where the picture that I was painting for them seemed overwhelming. And it was, and
Yeah,
it is. But if we take it one step at a time and commit to that one step at a time, but commit to making that step, then that's number one. That's number one, what you have to do. Number two, this is the perfect time. When there is a crisis, those who charge forward are those who win. Because while everyone else is sitting back and uncertain or scared or don't know what to do, those that are forging ahead are the ones that end up creating opportunities for themselves. So I think number two, you have to continue to seek out opportunities. Number three, you have to be resourceful.
yes,
I mean, money is a big issue for a lot of people. But you know what? That's not an excuse to not find a way to live your truth.
that's good.
And that means even like, for example, when we did the Maxwell show,
Mhm.
for them to make that possible, they ended up doing a Kickstarter. And because of the success of the Kickstarter, we were able to do that show. Find ways to create the financial resources so that you can keep moving forward, because that is your hope.
Mhm.
That is your opportunity to feel hopeful that, you know what, it's going to be okay. Because when you don't do that, and you have the other two things those are good things to have,
Mhm.
but if you don't have anywhere to go, it gets pretty lonely, and it gets really tough. And I'll give you an example. Even over the last 4 weeks, being stuck inside, it was driving me crazy. So my nephew had just written a song, and immediately, I said, you know what? Let's go to Florida and shoot the music video. Man, it was the happiest 18-hour drive I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
Now, coming back was a different story, but going, because it was just getting out and
Mhm.
knowing that there was an end game, and being on the beach shooting that music video, and just knowing that we had some control in the process of how we live our lives is what's important. So I hope I answered your question.
No, you definitely did. Definitely. I definitely believe out of crisis is birth,
Absolutely.
resiliency and excellence. And you just have to move forward and be great and take on the mindset of being great.
Absolutely.
Nothing's going to
Absolutely.
stop. And for me, acting, I decided to do it in my latter years. But initially people were like taken back by it, like, oh, whatever, or that's not going to happen. And I am enjoying the journey. I don't care what nobody say. People think I'm crazy. I could care less. Like, I'm going to do everything that's in me to do. And making that decision to do that, that wasn't an easy place to come to.
No, and you know what? I'm witness to that. I saw that. Let me relive the moment for you. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
We're in Indianapolis. You're in the ring with Veronica. You guys are punching each other. And I'm telling you, no, you got to hit each other harder. And you're like, if this dude says hit any harder, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to hit him. But you're going at it. You two are really duking it out, gasping for air, but you're still going take after take. And guess what? You didn't complain. You didn't throw off the gloves and say, I'm done. You kept fighting through. And
It
poor,
was one time. I
and
almost
poor,
lost everything.
yeah,
Like, I
listen,
was so wore out.
and poor Veronica, we were asking her, hit her, hit her. Oh no, I don't want to hit her. Hit her.
I'm like, hit me.
So if you can get through that, the only thing I regret
Mhm.
about that filming is that we didn't ask you guys to jump rope. That's what we should have done.
Oh, I would have had fun with that.
You know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like get into the Ali stuff and the
I would have had so much fun with that. Nice. Yeah, our people are here. They're here. They showed up for it. And Cheryl says, congratulations to Kaz Will on his new music video and over 1 million followers on TikTok. So that's really a big deal. Let's talk a little bit about, if you want to go into that, let's talk a little bit about him and how you're working with him and branding him and marketing him, because that's a part of
Oh,
the program as well.
yeah, he absolutely exemplifies the program. I mean, the story is, 6 years ago, he was a kid that was ready to join gangs. He was living in Elizabeth in a bad area and was really struggling, was fighting in school, was really on a bad track. As a matter of fact, he was on track to join a gang. And then what happened when I got the call at the time, I had left the music industry and I was an owner of a pizza franchise in Utah. But I
Mhm.
came back and then they said that, Kaz is doing really bad in school. He's fighting and, he's hanging out with all the wrong people. So what I did is I went to his school in the hood with my laptop, my Mac, and I stayed there all day long for 3 days in a row. Went to his gym classes, went to every class, and I just
Wow.
sat there, and then did it day after day. And I said, I'm going to keep coming back unless you get it together. So he decided to get it together. And from there, it was so ironic because I was in the process of selling the pizzeria. So the timing couldn't have been better. So I ended up staying back east. And then what I would do is anytime I was doing filming, I would take him with me. And at the time I was working on the Jonathan Fleming project. Jonathan Fleming is a black man that was in prison for 25 years for a murder he didn't commit.
Wow.
And he finally got out. He was exonerated and he was given like almost $7 million. And we were doing a show, a docuseries called From the Prison House to the Dream House. And I brought Kaz with me so that he could hear the story, because what made things difficult for Jonathan Fleming is that he was a drug dealer. So he had the X on his back.
Mhm.
Even though he didn't commit the murder and they framed him for it, he had put himself in a bad situation because of the lifestyle he was living. So I wanted Kaz to hear that story as we were filming the docuseries. And he's been with me ever since. And, because of that, the story, he started changing. And then finally he was ready to go to high school. And I'll never forget this. We go to take him to the high school
Mhm.
And I walked in, it was in Newark. And I walked in, I saw this girl winked at him and started walking like, okay, you can get this. And I was like, look, we out. So I signed him out that day.
He said, "Wow."
I signed him out that day, and he ended up homeschooling for the next 4 years, and just started really diving into all of what we're doing. From and you talk about every aspect, he's seen it all from behind the scenes slating to being in front of the camera to writing, and then started having him work with some of my colleagues in terms of songwriting, and he just started getting better. So the moral of the story is that he went from a place of feeling like, okay, this is going to be another statistic, to us doing our part. Sometimes we have to make sure that we rescue these young kids, and
Yeah,
rescuing them doesn't mean lip service. It doesn't mean you do a good talk about, you live it, you walk the walk.
that's
And
good.
that's what I did. And so through those sacrifices, it paid off. He's turned into a very dynamic young man. He's learned the industry in and out, and
Mm.
he's starting to see the fruit of his labor. When you talk about creativity, I leave him alone. Like, he is very creative. I guide him, but I give him the room to live his truth, and that
Nice.
has translated into him becoming a social media influencer. He's got over 1 million organic true followers. He's released 4 songs now,
Yes.
and he's in the running for a movie. It's between him and one other person for a movie, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hoping that he gets it. So that's the Coswell journey.
Excellent. Well, I definitely believe the part is his for the taking. So I am Shalita says, are you looking for individuals that provide scores or produce music? Can you break that down for us and maybe reframe the question? Because unless you understand the deal,
Yeah, I think she's saying a score is, in regards to, I know exactly what you're talking about.
okay.
Actually, we start this summer. We're going to be filming Seven Hills. Seven Hills is an original scripted drama series that I created. I actually created it 3 years ago, but we've gone through so much trying to get it picked up that I finally decided that, you know what, we're not going to wait for a network to say yes to us, that
Okay.
we're actually going to use our own resources. We're going to finish writing it
Love it.
and developing the series. And what I'm doing is I'm going to have original music a part of that. So if you have original music, whether you want it to be considered for the score or for
Okay.
the soundtrack, the key is just to reach out to Tamika. You can connect them with me.
Okay.
And also for actors, we're actually starting the writing room, because what I did is I wrote the first episode, but I'm doing something unique. I want the series to be written by young people. And what I mean by that, I have the series, but we're going to do a writing room starting February 10th. And I'm going to have different types of people in the writing room reading the script. And that's how I'm going to finalize the first episode. So anyone that's interested in writing or seeing how the writing process goes, they can reach out to you, D'Amica, and then and then connect me. And then the writing room starts February 12th. I
Okay.
mean 10th, I'm sorry, at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And from there, I'm also going to give actors opportunities. If you're a standout, whether you're a writer or you want to be an actor in front of the camera, that's how it's all going to start.
Excellent. Wow. I look forward to all of that. So I'm here for it. Definitely, definitely. Shalita said, awesome, awesome. So anything else we should know that you're working on, projects,
Uh,
anything?
I think, well, we're starting the next short film program.
Okay.
Starts in March. We'll start 8 weeks of training, and then after those 8 weeks, we'll film another short film. And then, of course, if anyone's interested in doing reels, we're going to be doing reels in New York and New Jersey in March, either the last week of March or the first week of April. So definitely reach out. We're going to have a professional movie set, and you'll be able to get professionally produced content that you can use for your demo reel. And of course, our next virtual showcase is March 6th. So for those actors that want to showcase themselves in front of industry VIPs, you also have that as well. But my recommendation is that you go through our coaching process first.
Mhm.
When you go through the coaching, that's how you're able to ensure that you're ready for that opportunity to showcase in front of the agents, casting directors, and managers.
Excellent. Excellent. So now I'm about to get all in your personal business, Bill.
I thought you were. Uh-oh, now I'm scared.
Bill, so what is something that you've accomplished that you're most proud of?
Oh, that's easy. I
Mm.
mean, raising my nephew and turning him into a
Wow.
person, a person that I feel has an opportunity to do amazing things. I mean, to me, that was the most incredible thing that I've accomplished, and also saving his father because his father was addicted to heroin and this and the streets, and I was able to get him turned around. So being there for my family has probably been the greatest accomplishment. But doing it and then seeing Kaz benefit from it, where he's really taken the mantle and taken it to the next level, to
Mhm.
me, that's by far my proudest accomplishment.
Wow. Well, hats off to you because that's definitely a major, major accomplishment. I definitely see God being pleased with that.
Yes, as a
Yeah,
matter of fact, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
no,
I was just going to tell you one more thing.
no, go ahead.
It inspired me to create a nonprofit that we launched. It's called Beyond the Impossible. We just were approved. We're totally tax exempt. It's an official nonprofit, and the goal of that is to use uh, what happened with Kaz as a testimonial to inspire other young people and give those young people in urban and rural America that don't have an opportunity or the resources to do the things that I've done with Kaz by creating this nonprofit, will
Mhm.
be able to create those resources for them. So I'm really super excited. The name of the nonprofit is beyondtheimpossible.org, and it launches next Tuesday. So make sure you guys, I'll make sure you get that information.
Please do. That's definitely a awesome example of paving the way, creating
Mhm.
opportunities, especially during this time. And Kaz, just to let you know, he is a brilliant young man, brilliant. Like I had an opportunity to spend some time with him. Um, he's not loud, he's not wild, he's very intelligent, very appropriate, kind, respect. I mean, he's the whole package. So great job, great job.
So, I don't know. You should have heard us an hour ago.
It's okay. I mean, home is home. You let loose and let your hair down and be who you are. That's the beauty of family. You get to be
Mhm.
yourself. But in doing in the business aspect, he was phenomenal.
Oh, thank you so much.
And he showed up. I, that says a lot for young people these days because a lot of people don't want to wake up or show up, and he was there morning, noon, and night.
Yeah, make sure you have everyone check out his Instagram is Kaz Will Official. Is
Okay.
his new Instagram, which we're launching in conjunction with his career now. And TikTok is Kaz Will Music.
Can
Uh, de-
one of our guests please type that in the comments? You can say it again.
at Kaz Music is his TikTok, and then his Instagram is at Kaz Will Official.
Okay, excellent. All right. So, what are your deepest values?
Deepest values. That's another one. That's another easy one. Integrity,
Nice.
integrity, commitment, and yeah, I think to me those are the two things that are hard things to come by. I mean, because we're in a time where it's so easy to go astray. And I'm guilty of it. When I was younger, when they were dangling that carrot, even having an artist on a major label and all the perks, and you find yourself losing sight of who you are. And
Mhm.
when I lost sight of who I was is when I lost my way. But I found my way again when I fell back on what was the things that are important to me. And there's actually three things that are important: live my truth,
Nice.
live with integrity, and live with commitment. Because when you have those three things, you can go to the next thing.
Wow. Okay, well, going right on to the next thing. Truth, integrity, and commitment. And this segues right into this question. Are you married or single, Bill? Oh, you can't hear me? No? Are you joking? Are you serious? You can't hear me? Really? Hold on. Are you single? I can hear you.
By the way, I do this with Cheryl all the time.
I know you're joking. Henry said, "Don't fall for it, Mika." Okay, moving right along. Love it.
Listen, you know that, listen, you can't kiss and tell.
Okay, all right.
You can't, you
See,
know that.
trying to play matchmaker.
Okay,
See,
well, if that you didn't say that. Well, if that's the case, I'm definitely single.
okay, excellent. Yeah, we gonna talk after this. So, Bill, if the audience could walk around your home, what clues would they find that would reveal something about who you are?
I think look in the refrigerator. That's one. Uh, Look at my desk. I think that would be another telling story of who I am. And then look at the books on my shelves.
Okay. So what would your refrigerator say?
Uh, this week it says healthy eating.
Okay.
I've got, I've been on this kick of trying to eat healthy in the new year.
That's good.
So if you go in, you'll see that the goal is to try to be a healthy eater, so you won't find a lot of things that are bad for you, and it's hard. I mean, the other day I ordered this Garrett popcorn, and I spent like 30 something, $40 to have it shipped to me, only
Yeah.
to have two handfuls.
Oh,
Okay, I
wow.
just had to have it, and then I gave the rest of it to Kaz. I was actually going to give it to someone else, but Kaz said, "No, I'll take it."
No,
And I
I
said, "Kaz," I
with
said, "By the way, Kaz, when you take it, put your hand in it all the way, so I won't want it anymore."
you. And cough a couple of times.
Yes, exactly. So
No,
no, that's what you.
my
That's what you.
favorite. I couldn't have given that up. If it,
You've had it before?
oh yeah, that's my favorite. Anytime I go
Oh my
to, like
God!
Michigan or Chicago, I'm definitely going to Garrett's popcorn.
Yes, and
Actually,
you don't know.
I've ordered it before, so
Yeah, it's expensive too.
it is to
Yeah,
order.
but it's really, really good. But but it was good for me to have a few handfuls and then to just let it go. And that's a microcosm of what I feel about life. Like sometimes we can't be so far left, so far right, because if you really think about it, no pun intended,
Mhm.
that's the problem with our society right now. Everyone's either too far left, too far right. The truth is we've got to find commonality. We got to find that middle. And for
Mhm.
me, the middle for me is like, okay, I know I want to eat better. I know I want to eat healthy. But if I have a desire for something, let me at least have a little bit of it so I can satisfy that taste, and then I'm good.
Good.
So that's what you'd find in my refrigerator. I like
Nice.
these questions, by the way.
Good. What would your desk tell us?
Uh, that there's lots of footage to edit. Right now I'm looking at. I've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 10 drives on my desk.
Oh
and
wow.
I've got two laptops, two MacBook Pros,
Mhm.
and and it's and ironically, it's in front of the TV. So I'm looking at you, but right now I'm able to glance up at the TV. That just kind of gives me something to kind of look at, but then I'm able to come back to the work. But that's what I live for, man. I mean, I love. As a matter of fact, when we started the process of editing Countdown, the short film that you guys were a part of, and
Yes.
man, the footage looks amazing. My favorite part though is with you and Veronica in the ring, though.
Oh, wow. Wow. I was thinking about that even earlier today. I was like, I wonder what is that gonna look like?
Wait until you see how it's edited. It's gonna make it look like you guys are the most incredible fighters that
Oh,
ever did
I love it
fight.
because I've been watching boxing scenes and different kind of scenes, and I'm like, oh, is that what we gonna look like, or we gonna look totally crazy? So I'm glad that you're good at your job. I
Well,
appreciate.
well, I don't say that yet. You got to wait until it's done, and then I just wish that we would have got more hair pulling,
Okay.
more kicking,
Hmm.
more taking off the gloves and just going bare hand.
Oh wow. Oh,
First, first of all, that was I'm kidding, right?
I know, but you said, remember when you said, if you get a bruise on your face, we'll just edit that into the next scene. I'm thinking, I don't want to show up at the restaurant.
With a black eye. Oh, but that would have been
Oh,
so authentic, though. Do you know how good that would have been?
yeah.
No,
Oh,
but you didn't have to do that, though. We were good.
well, she gave me a few good ones. So
Did it hurt at all? Did you guys really get a good couple good licks
she
in?
gave me a few good ones. A few
Did
good, but
you?
it was okay. It was all good.
No, that's good. That's
Hmm.
good.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I mean, it's been inspiring and motivating still as well. So,
Good.
um, so what would your selection of books say?
One of my favorite books is called The Road Less Traveled, and I think that's an important book. Uh, I've got some good books, but I like that one a lot, and I also like The Law of Attraction.
Hmm.
I feel that the energy we put out is what we get back. If we put out energy that's negative, then guess what? That's what you get back. No matter how much you want a different outcome, if your output is negative, you're going to get back negative. So I feel that was an important book. And the reason why I like The Road Less Travel is because sometimes we want to intrude our boundaries on others. But the
Hmm.
truth is, the more we respect individuality and the boundaries that each one of us has, then we really leave ourselves a lot of room to enjoy the relationships that we have, whether it's intimate, platonic, business. So I feel those are the type of books that I like to read.
Excellent. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. The
Hmm.
road less traveled. Nice. I really I think I wrote a poem like that
Oh,
because
cool.
yeah, because some roads people what I'm discovering is how we are as a society, and I think my husband said today GameStop, their stock flew up because a group of people said buy GameStop, buy their stock today. So people have been buying it like crazy, and it's been going up all day.
Mm,
But we as a society, we flock to that one thing and we all hover around it, whereas it's harder to go the other way.
yes, it is.
It's harder to go the other way, and that's not going to bring a lot of calamity in your life, and you're going to have a little bit more peace and a little bit more kindness and joy on this road over here, and we tend to go this way and hover around it. So
Hmm.
yeah, that sounds like a
No,
really
no, no, you definitely want to check it out. And like I said, we're in a unique time right now. And I
Mhm.
think we all have an opportunity to kind of hit the reset button and really go for it. I'm like, what do we have by not going for it? To just continue to live life the same way?
Mhm.
Or do we, pave new roads and
Lovely.
yeah, is it a little scary? Yeah, but you know what? Take a nice backpack with lots of water and some snacks and just go on that adventure knowing that, you have the resources to to travel that road less traveled.
Definitely. Definitely. That's some good advice. You guys, this guy right here, if you are acting, if you are an artist, if you are a talent, this is the person you want to connect to, meet, and know. Very encouraging, very inspiring. I absolutely love your story.
Oh,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
your approach to people. Your heart is so kind. I definitely know God is pleased with you and who you are.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
yeah, so I told you before, I am here for it. You've been great to me. The way that you work with me and very very appropriate, very straightforward. I've been very appreciative for everything that you've poured out and the time that you've taken with me. Cheryl said you are exceptional. That you are.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I mean, you're a mentor, you're a teacher, you're a guy. You have all these wonderful attributes about you. So if you can leave the people with anything, what do you want to leave the audience with?
Dream on. Dream on and believe that the impossible is possible because everything about you is possible.
Definitely. Excellent. All right. Well, Bill, I thank you so much for your time. This has been fun. We're going to have to do this again.
Absolutely. This is a lot of fun. And kudos to you. Let's take a second to say kudos to you for having the courage to do this type of show and to continue to give voice.
Mhm.
And so thank you too, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Certainly will. All right. Well, God bless you. Have a
Yes,
great night.
I will. And you do the same, okay?